A man was murdered in the Brooks Hill sector while he was located in a neighborhood store. Family and friends mourn the loss.
A young man was shot and killed in the Cove area near Brooks Hill. According to witnesses, a man on foot shot him several times and then left into the bush. The victim, who was known as Orville Archibald Premier, was in a drink and food store near to a grill when he was shot and died on the premises where it happened. The National Police made a presence and a cordon of the place. Meanwhile, the CTI personnel made the removal of the body. However, at the moment of this emission, they have not given declaration that conclude the motive of the fact. This journalistic host will be attentive to the advances made by the police on the possible capture of the murder.
On the other hand, approximately half an hour ago, another case was recorded in which a young man was also injured by a gunshot in the Elsebar area, also known as Los Charquitos. So far, no report has been issued by authorities or the departmental hospital. However, preliminary versions point out that the young man passed away. And a shooting occurred in the Simpson Well near the well-known Mango Tree, where a 25-year-old man, a worker of a recognized soft drink company, was wounded by a firearm, which was subsequently admitted to the hospital with a projectile wound, which, according to reliable departmental hospital sources, caused the shot wound and impacted in the left forearm and was located in the abdominal wall. However, he did not have any abdominal organ involved or forearm fractures. To date, the authorities have not commented on the matter. Colombia and Nicaragua continue legal arguments before the International Court of Justice over the continental shelf.
150 miles extra that Nicaragua is reclaiming in the continental water. The court made two announcements. The first one is to ask the two countries in means of their rights to determine why they have the right to that 150 nautical miles, and Colombia to defend why Nicaragua don't have the rights. Why? Because this case is a technical and scientific case, but the court want to know from the matter of rights, if necessary, to go to the second stage, which is to prove it scientifically and technically. If the court consider that Nicaragua don't have the rights to 150 miles extra, well, no make no sense in go to the technical part and the scientific part.
Nicaragua asked the International Court of Justice for a continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles from its Caribbean coast, but Colombia defends that the continental shelf of the San Andres archipelago unquestionably joins with the continental shelf of the Colombian Caribbean coast. For this reason, the International Court of Justice asks them to dedicate the next oral trial to present their arguments exclusively in relation to two issues of international law before proceeding to any consideration of technical and scientific issues of the case on the delimitation of the continental shelf, located more than 200 nautical miles off the Nicaraguan coast.
If the court consider that Nicaragua don't have the rights to 150 miles extra, well, no make no sense in go to the technical part and the scientific part. And the second one is that in want to make the audience, the oral audience, or we call hearing, as what they call it in the court, separately. That is the first time the court asking each country to present the argumentation separately. Why that? Nobody don't know. It's just a decision, a new decision that the court made. Colombia have it, the possibility to either answer the two questions or go direct to the court. Right now, no matter which one of the two decisions Colombia make, if you go direct to the court or answer the question for the rights we Colombia have or the rights for Nicaragua got for the 150 miles, rights people supposed to be part of the process.
The International Court of Justice request their submissions on whether, under customary international law, a state's right to a continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles from its coast can extend within 200 nautical miles of another state. To date, no dates have been announced for the next oral session of the case. Teleislas News will keep abreast of the court's pronouncements and the arguments of the countries involved.
House Representative Jorge Mendez introduced Legislative Act Number 156 of 2022, which amends Articles 171 and 262 of the Political Constitution, also combined with Legislative Act Number 162 of 2022, which amends Article 171, creating a special national constituency for Afro-Colombian communities in the Senate, so that the least populated departments may have representation in the Senate.
La pobreza está focalizada.
Poverty is focused in the most remote regions of the country, and this has a reason because the historical centralization that we have had has caused investments and management to be focused in regions such as Bogota, Antioquia, and a few other regions of the country. The former national territories, which were the last to become departments, are the ones that lag the furthest behind.
In the same line, the representative indicate that there are departments that have never had representation in the Senate, as is the case of Amazonas, Caquetá, Guainía, Guaviare, San Andres, San Providence, Baupés, and Bichada, since according to the electoral census, they will not have the slightest possibility of competing in a list with regions such as Antioquia, Bogotá, or Santander, where they have more than 2 million inhabitants, for which reason he highlighted the proposal of the project.
In essence, in the articles, the Article 262 and Article 171, 176, and 262 of the Political Constitution be modified in such a way that departments such as the Archipelago of San Andres, La Guajira, Vichada, Arauca, Casanare, Guyana, Caquetá, Vaupés, Amazonas, Guaviare, Putumayo, and Chocó, which today have only 2 seats in the House of Representatives and no representation in the Senate. Whoever has a seat in the Senate may be represented in the Senate. Whoever obtains the highest number of votes in that territorial constituency will win a seat in the Senate of the Republic.
The project seeks that department with low population density obtain a seat in the Senate, for which when electing the 2 representatives, however obtain the highest vote, will automatically become a senator and the other will remain as a representative of the chamber.
In other news, Representative Elizabeth J. Pan, a member of the House of Representatives, is taking steps within the national government to declare the First Baptist Church a National Heritage Site.
Next Thursday, October 20th, at the facilities of the National University Caribbean headquarters, historians and experts on the influence and incidence of the First Baptist Church in the cultural development of the Rizal ethnic group of the islands will meet in a forum organized by House Representative Elizabeth J. Pan Diaz, with the purpose of advancing actions and efforts that lead to the declaration of the temple as national heritage, and in turn guarantee resources for its maintenance, structural support, and conservation in accordance with the typical architecture of this type of building and which are typical of the Caribbean. The forum, called Culture and Heritage, will be attended by the Minister of Culture and the Director of National Heritage, with whom Representative J. Pan has been meeting to make the required arrangements leading to the declaration of national heritage. The activity will be open to the public from 3 p.m.
5 days after the passage of Hurricane Julia through the island, the opening of tourist attractions affected by the winds continues. This time, the Botanical Garden of the island reopened its doors.
After the passage of Hurricane Julia through San Andres, the Departmental Botanical Garden suffered damages to its infrastructure, such as falling trees and loss of roofs of buildings. But note that most of the damages have been overcome. The attraction has reopened its doors to the public.
En este momento lo que está, digamos,
At this moment, what is open to the public is the Glossological Garden, which are some triangles that go up in the garden to the viewpoint, and the viewpoint is open also. All the main center contains ornamental plants, which has plants of rocky and sandy coast, plants of Cherophylla, mangrove plants, plants of fruit trees, and the Platmenum, which is the collection of palms that the botanical garden also has. Plants of fruit trees and the Palmenum, which is the collection of palms that has the botanical garden, is also enabled. Our hours of operation is again same from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Do not miss it. You have to come to the botanical garden to enjoy nature.
The ecological trails inside the forest of the botanical garden are closed to the public because they are being intervened due to the passage of Hurricane Julia.
The Attorney General's office requested various entities of Archipelago to expedite their efforts to rebuild the hospital in the municipality of Old Providence.
The Attorney General's Office of the Nation requested the Governor of the Department, Everett Hawkins, to perform urgent actions in compliance with the obligations consigned in relation to the project reconstruction of the local hospital of Providence. In said request, the local leader is asked to carry out a program of socialization of the project with the citizens in order to resolve their concerns and requests and avoid the de facto actions, preventing in some occasions the entry of the necessary material for the reconstruction of the hospital. The Attorney General's office also requested the Carolina Corporation to manage in a timely manner the dumping permits in order to go ahead with the project of the reconstruction of the health center. The Attorney General's office also requested an immediate solution to the situation of the dock in order to give priority to uploading of materials and avoid rescheduling the works that affect the health care of the islands. Finally, it alerted the authorities involved in this project regarding the finalization of the declaration of disaster situation and the implications that this situation has on the express permits granted by the UNGRD to foreign personnel on the island that will be necessary for the construction of the hospital.
The Providence Hospital is 30% complete. This was stated by the Secretary of Infrastructure.
During his visit to the island of Providence after the passage of Hurricane Julia to see what were the damage and impacts to the structures in the municipality, the Secretary of Infrastructure made known through Teleislas cameras the progress of the new hospital in the municipality of Providence and the condition in which the schools are.
Vimos un avance del.
We saw an advance of 30%. We also talked there with the directors and builders, and we toured the site and we saw that everything is already in place. The isolated foundation system is cast. The base plates are in place and the columns are welded to them. All the columns have already been built.
According to the Secretary of Infrastructure, this is a dry system which will accelerate the pace in the progress of the construction of the hospital. Also, the sanitary facilities are already in place. And taking into account this, the construction of the hospital of the municipality will be carried out quickly. Regarding the school visit, the Secretary stated that there were no major damages in the educational institution. After the passage of the Hurricane Julia through the archipelago, one of them suffered small damage that at the moment is being resolved. Escalona points out that the other institutions are in optimal conditions.
Nearly 40 starfish were rescued by the McLaughlin Robinson family during the strong winds of the recent Hurricane Julia. The animals were returned to the sea in a place where they could survive.
During Hurricane Julia, the waves also wreaked havoc on the sea and the coast. A family in Freshwater Bay intervened to save the lives of approximately 40 starfish that probably would have lost their lives when they were thrown to the shore by the waves.
The hurricane that come, bringing a lot of sea star on the bay. And my children then come and take it up and find them right there on the rock, so them take it up to see if they could have survived. And then father come and help them to put it in a tank and throw salt water on if we see if they could survive. And after that, we take it and carry it down to see if they see the camp, we could make them try to survive.
The family borrowed a vehicle to transport the 40 or so arthropods to the central area where the sea had better conditions for their survival.
we didn't know what to do. But we never have no signal. I did call Darson for Carolina to know what to do with them. And we never had no signal, so we had to carry them up there, and we start show them in IC. But yesterday, the lady from Carolina, the head of Carolina, told me that Darson and someone else gone and dive down front of the puente and search to see if they see them, if they survive. And she said only one of them did they walk a little slow, and the rest of them walk out and gone.
The Environmental Corporation said this was not the only case of starfish rescue.
In Southwest Bay, we also managed to rescue 15 starfish on Sunday, which were also transferred to another sector. The technical personnel, the guards of the corporation who have been monitoring and watching over them every day, say that they have already been moving further out into sea.
For now, the sea stars are marching to other places offshore.
And some people have complained about the work that Fontour is doing in the Posadas. The owner of one in Ilsa Guzman denounces that her is still getting wet inside.
Mistress Enilda of Posada Airport reports that there have been several abuses by Fontour and Obras Capital since, according to the innkeeper, she had to put close to 30 million pesos in the arrangement of her business, and still the repairs are not very good.
The house is getting wet. The roof has been blown off since the day of the hurricane. One of the roof tiles is nailed with only one nail. Last night there was a lot of breeze and nobody can sleep in this house because it is plah, plah, plah. And they haven't come to see. And they didn't make the wall they were supposed to make for the roof, and the house is getting wet all over.
According to Guzman, the workers used her construction materials and know they don't want to give them back.
They took some plywood that I had to fix the cistern, and they said that they had no material, so I had to lend them some stucco, which I had to fix the bunker, and some stucco, cement, and glue, and they have not wanted to give it back to me.
On the other hand, she says that the auditor of the work has arrived and has given the go-ahead without even asking her.
They said, "Come and sign." And I said, "But how am I going to sign if this house has not been tiled, has not had the terrace fixed, has not been painted? I put 6 complete bathroom sets plus tiles. I did the kitchen, and all the paint outside is mine." Then they came and took photos and said, "We don't need the sign anymore to get paid."
The innkeeper expressed her dissatisfaction and asked the authorities to review her case, since whenever they try to talk about the situation, the builders always claim the money is gone.
And with news of the municipality, we reach to the end of this broadcast. We see you Sunday at 8 p.m. in Teleislas News Weekend. Good night.